Before we start, here's a picture from last night when I met Ilya. That happened. Dude, it was so cool. He's so much taller than I thought he would be. That's insane. Hey, what's up guys? It's Connor, and I'm back with another Shrek video. Who would have guessed it? So, I've been figuring out, like, hey, what kind of Shrek stuff can I rank? Like, I've ranked the villains, I've ranked the Shrek 2 soundtrack. What other things can I do? And I was kind of stumped for a little bit, because I'm like, well, I don't want to do all the characters just yet. If I'm going to do that, I want to save it for later for a big video. Then I realized, why don't I just rank the actual films themselves? That'd be a really good idea, considering it's like there's so much to talk about between the 6 movies I'm going to be talking about. And if you are wondering why I'm talking about 6 movies instead of 4, it's because I'm counting the Puss in Boots movies as well. So we're going to be talking about Shrek 1, Shrek 2, Shrek 3, Shrek 4, Puss in Boots, and Puss in Boots The Last Wish. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I have made a tier list, once again, and I've got all of the Shrek films and the Puss in Boots films here at the bottom. And I've got them ranked at tiers levels above, would watch again, good not great, kind of forgettable, and then the worst, just the worst. I wonder what's going to be in that one. I wonder if there's one specific movie why I made that tier. Anyway, if you guys enjoy this, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. You guys seem to really like when I rant about Shrek, so let's go ahead and get on into it. So we're starting off where it all began. Shrek, the first one, 2001. Man, what a classic. I mean, I'm pretty sure this film is in like the National Registry, or not registry yet. National something. The government acknowledged Shrek as one of the most important films, and that is saying something for sure. I mean, what can you even say about this film that hasn't been said already? It's Shrek. Everybody has seen it, everybody's given their opinion on it, everybody probably loves it. I mean, the original Shrek remains a cult classic. It's the film that not only introduced us to brand new takes on fairy tales and storytelling with good twists, but also with like semi-adult humor mixed in with a story that is breathable for a child, a young person, or an older person. Like, anybody can enjoy it. I enjoyed it as a kid, and I enjoyed it as a teenager, and I enjoy it now in my 20s. I absolutely love this. It's humor, unique characters, and the iconic soundtrack that ended up shaping the way that the Shrek tone was, except for the third. Honestly, it just makes it so fun and rewatchable as an experience. Though it may not have the same emotional depth or polished storytelling of later films like the second one, I will say it does still have a lot of charm and sets a strong foundation for the series. My one problem with it is the forced, contrived misunderstanding between Shrek and Fiona whenever Fiona's talking to Donkey and Shrek overhears. Probably could have done without that. And also I probably could have done without the the 3rd through the 10th Farquaad is short joke. It was funny the first or second time. It just gets old, and you're ridiculing him for something that makes him a freak or whatever, but you're going up against him when he's doing the same thing. I don't really know what that's about, but luckily it's not too bad. But as far as the original Shrek goes, it is a cult classic. It is one of the most important films of all time, and definitely one of the most important films in animation, and it definitely deserved to be the first ever Best Animated Feature winner. So for that, we're going to put Shrek in Would Watch Again, because I probably will. Shrek 2, baby! Let's go! Oh my god, yes, I get to talk about Shrek 2 again, and I'm so excited. Let's go, man, yes! Shrek 2 is everything a sequel should be. It builds on the original's foundation while improving in every conceivable way. From its character arcs, to its world building, to its humor. Shrek 2 takes everything that worked on the first movie, says, yeah, that's good, let's up it to 10. And they perfected it, man. They really perfected it. This all creates a film that's just funny, more emotionally resonant, more epic, more Doris. Even more creatively ambitious than the original Shrek, I would say. This is how you build a perfect sequel. You have it have a great impact on the series as a whole. You expand the world in new and original ways that fit. And you also have Doris. Alright, I'm gonna stop at the doors like this. I just find that part funny. And the character development in Shrek 2, on another level. Oh my god, like, in the first film, Shrek learns to accept himself, and that's good, and he learns that he is okay to be loved. If anything, he's not even really accepting himself as much as he's accepting the fact that he is worthy of love, whether from Fiona, or Donkey, or the fairy tale creatures, or what have you. But in Shrek 2, the conflict between him and Fiona really deepens. Fiona, now living her happily ever after, has to confront the realities of her marriage to an ogre and navigate her relationship with her parents at the kingdom. Shrek's insecurities are no longer just about being an ogre, but about how he might be viewed in Fiona's world. And this creates such a rich and layered dynamic between the characters. It's so interesting because in the original Shrek movie, Shrek wouldn't care if like people thought differently of him because he's an ogre. He didn't care, he relished in it. But because he loves Fiona so much, he cares. He wants them to like him, but he knows that it's not gonna happen. Luckily at the end of the movie it does, but still he's pretty valid in his points. And oh, I love the scene where they come to the swamp with the trumpets and the guy just absolutely goes off. Puss in Boots as well shows up in this for the first time, and he is an absolute standout character. Oh, I love him. He was introduced as a charming and sly new character, becomes a quick fan favorite that would end up getting him 2 movies in the future. Who knew? One of them being absolutely amazing. Voiced by the amazing Antonio Banderas, Puss is a perfect blend of bravado and vulnerability that adds a fresh dynamic to the team. And he just adds a new spice to the team, a new Latino spice. Was that even? I don't know. I'm probably gonna get Jesse for that. His introduction with the adorable kitten eyes instantly won over hearts. It's so cute. He even won over Shrek, and that's saying something. His addition to the team brings humor and warmth in an equal measure as well. And how could I talk about Shrek 2 without talking about Fairy Godmother? Fairy Godmother is one of the most memorable animated villains of all time. She is not just evil for the sake of it, but she's strategic, she's manipulative, she uses emotional tactics to control Shrek and even Fiona. Like I said in the previous video, or the video before that, she has a plan to have Charming steal Fiona from Shrek, and whenever that plan gets foiled, she figures out what Shrek is planning himself and comes up with a counter plan to that plan that's even better. How are you able to do that? And I would be remorse to not talk about the scene, the iconic scene, her singing number, Holding Out for a Hero. The most iconic moment in the film, showing how she's not only a traditional villain with all the spark and charisma that you want, but also someone who clearly works her way into the fabric of the fairy tale world and can sing a cover to God knows, oh my god, it's so good. And I think you guys know how I feel about Prince Charming, but I don't like him in the third one, really. But in the second one, he's not as intolerable. He is rendered a little bit more on the ridiculous side, but he does serve as a perfect foil for Shrek in this one. He's a prince with a lot of potential, but not the sincerity and humility that makes Shrek such a beloved character. And together these two create an excellent sense of conflict and tension, and they push Shrek to confront his biggest fears about not being good enough for Fiona. And yeah, it's just very good. The humor in Shrek 2 is endlessly entertaining, but it's also rooted in character. It's not about slapstick and, childish humor, even though there are a few jokes that fall into that trap every now and then. It's about how the jokes relate to the characters' emotional journeys. The movie delivers some of the funniest moments in the entire franchise, from Donkey's transformation to a white stallion, which was absolutely absurd, but totally hilarious whenever he was just like, trap in place, trap in place, trap in place, yeah! And the iconic, I am an ogre line that made Shrek, that was, whether your parents like it or not, I am an ogre. That's the line. The humor works perfectly well because it's tied to the themes of the stories, and it's very, very evident. And even the side characters, dude. Even the side characters, they get their moment to shine. The balance between silly, absurd humor and the genuine emotion is what makes Shrek 2 a standout film. Oh, and I'm not done yet. I got more. Visually, Shrek 2 is a huge step up from the first movie. Now, while it doesn't exactly hold up as well in 2025 because it came out in 2004, I do think that the animation is still pretty fluid and vibrant, and very detailed as well, as it should be. Looking at you, Shrek 5 teaser. I already talked about you in a short. They better fix that shit. They better fix Shrek. I swear to God, I'm gonna be so pissed if they don't. I mean, I feel like they just like upped the quality by a lot. I mean, from the detailed textures of Shrek's swamp to the royal palace where Fiona's parents reside, the movie does a great job of expanding the world. The magical effects are also elevated, particularly in the fairy tale transformations, making the magic feel more impactful and visually stunning to where it actually works with the characters and their struggles. And of course, I've talked about it before, but the soundtrack, spot on. It's amazing. This captures the tone of the film perfectly. You have no Shrek without pop culture songs of some sort. I mean, even Shrek the Third attempted to do it. It sucked, but it attempted. I'm getting ahead of myself. And of course, Holding Out for a Hero is unforgettable, and it's a show-stopping moment that hits perfectly with the larger-than-life fairy godmother and the storming of the castle. Oh my god, it's one of the best films in animation. I would even argue that one scene is better than the best DreamWorks movie, Prince of Egypt. I would argue that it is better. Prince of Egypt is a better movie, for sure. It's the best DreamWorks movie. But that Holding Out for a Hero scene, better than all of that, I gotta be honest. The soundtrack is just as memorable as the movie itself and contributes to the film's emotional and thematic depth. There is a reason that people say this is the best one. Not just me, but most of the Shrek community agrees this is the best one. Shrek 2 is a straight up masterpiece, dude. It's an animation masterpiece, and it surpasses its predecessor in almost every way, and that's what you want out of a sequel. It blends humor and heart with incredible character development, a fantastic score, and villains you love to hate. It builds a world that's even richer and more vibrant than the first, more complex, and it uses the world to tell deeper, more meaningful stories. From the powerful character arcs to the unforgettable moments of humor, Shrek 2 is just one of the best animated sequels of all time. And one of the best animated films of all time, period. I will stand by that. This is a 10 out of 10 movie. I would even say 11 out of 10. Shrek 2 is an absolute triumph and sets the bar for animated films and sequels alike. So for that, we're going to go ahead and put Shrek 2 all the way up at levels above, as it should be. Okay, I guess I gotta talk about this one. I guess I haven't actually had a chance to talk about it yet, properly. Shrek the Third. Yeah, you could stay for this one, unfortunately. Alright, let's just get the ball rolling on this. Shrek the Third sucks. I'm gonna start this off by putting it in the worst, just the worst. Dude, what? How did this go so wrong? I got so much to say. Buckle up. Okay, so where Shrek 2 was a masterpiece and a masterclass in sequel making, Shrek the Third is an utter disaster that single-handedly derailed the franchise. This movie fundamentally misunderstands what made the first two films work, replacing clever humor and subtle references with lazy, baby-level gags, throwing together a plot that lacks any heart, charm, emotion, and it delivers an uninspired climax that pales in comparison to I Need a Hero. It feels like a soulless corporate cash grab, which people called Shrek Forever After. That's not it. It's Shrek the Third. That was the soulless corporate cash grab. They made it without the creative team that made the first two movies their magic. That'd be, what are their names? Andrew Adamson and Vicky Venson. They directed the first two films, and they were absent for this one because they were working on other projects. Which you think, okay, it'll still be good.
Nope.
You know what? I'm gonna be here for a while, so let's just jump into this. I'm gonna start off with the comedy, if you can call it that. The movie's humor is an embarrassment. While the first two Shrek films blended clever satire with ridiculous fairy tale parody, this one leans entirely on bad baby jokes and bodily humor jokes and uninspired gags that fall flat at every turn. Hey DreamWorks, you know burps and stuff aren't actually that funny. really. They're just like, you realize that's only going to be funny to like the 3-year-olds in the audience, right? All of the uninspired gags fall flat at every turn. There's very few moments that I actually chuckled, and definitely very few moments that I laughed. I'm just gonna go through a bunch of jokes in this that I just think were absolutely awful, like the worst of them. There were bad ones, but I think these are the worst of them. All right, let's start out with King Harold's death. Fake out death, I guess you could call it. Instead of being an emotional or meaningful moment where the king passes away, as it should be considering his character development from Shrek 2, his death is played as a full-on joke, where he dies, comes back, dies and comes back multiple times before actually dying and passing away. It drags on for way too long and it feels like a cheap gag. And at the funeral, they put him in a... it's a representation for Foot Locker, or like a callback to Foot Locker or something. A shoebox. They put him in a shoebox and float him down a pond. What? Now, I don't know if I wrote it down or not to talk about this, but I've already said it. Why the hell did they play a Bond song, Live and Let Die, at King Harold's funeral? Why? That's what. Oh, it has "die" in the title. Yeah, that's perfect. Put it in the movie. You did it, DreamWorks. You did it. And then the I really hate to be talking about this, but the endless bodily function jokes, like burps and stuff, dude. I get it. In the first 2 movies, gross out humor worked because it helped Shrek and Fiona bond and blossom their relationship, because they were like, oh, we're both gross together. We're both ogres together. It had thematic purpose for once. In this one, though, it's just, hey, it's funny when you burp or something. It's like, dude, it's the main source of comedy, and you can't have that. It's lazy. It's immature. It's child shit. That's all it is. Literally. Oh my god. And then Pinocchio's rambling scene, whenever he's like rambling to Charming. Dude, this could have worked if they did it right, but it didn't land on its feet, dude. This could have been funny in small doses, but it just drags on forever. I mean, it makes it frustrating instead of entertaining, and that's just that's a summation of the movie right there. Also, Donkey was bullied in high school? We learned in this one that there's a high school. That doesn't make any sense. But I guess, I mean, what? It makes 0 sense, doesn't explain anything about his past, and feels incredibly lazy as a joke. Like, Donkey went to high school? For what? I mean, he's a donkey. It seems like everybody at this school are all human. Why? What? I am so confused. Oh my god. And then I thought this was funny as a kid because I was a stupid kid and I actually liked this movie for some reason. Donkey and Puss swapping bodies. Hey guys, we had Shrek and Donkey change into beautiful versions of themselves, like a human and a stallion in the first one. Let's do something magical body swapping type thing with the next one. And it doesn't have any concept whatsoever. It's not funny. There's no thematic purpose for it. It's just weak humor, and that's it. There is absolutely 0 reason for these two to swap bodies in this. There is no reason. So I don't know. Alright, and then Donkey doesn't know how babies are made. He's a father. Enough said. I mean, what? Gingy's life flashing before his eyes, which is a completely pointless filler gag that's not funny, nor is it interesting. It's just stuff. That's all it is, just filler. I don't understand the purpose of it. Like, oh, he's scared for his life. Let's show his entire life in flashes. Life flashes before your eyes. We're so subtle. We're so subtle with our comedy. And then the final battle, if you can call it that. You know how Shrek 2 had a amazing epic battle at the castle where they stormed it to an amazing song, and it was just action-packed and also funny at the same time? Better times, because this one sucked. The final battle, or the final scene, or whatever you want to call it, is a cringe musical number by Prince Charming. Yay. Instead of an epic climax or an epic actual battle or something, we get a lame, unfunny stage play where Prince Charming sings. And it's not good, even a little bit. He was better on Far, Far Away Idol, don't at me. It's just an absolute downgrade. I will say though, this is where one joke actually worked with me. when Shrek straight up just roasts Charming on stage in front of the kingdom at his own show. That's one of the moments that I think actually kind of lands a little bit. It's kind of funny, I'll be honest. Do they come in men's sizes? I'll give it that for sure. Hey, remember back in like the late 2000s whenever everybody just wanted to cast Justin Timberlake and everything? Shrek the Third did this, and I think his name is like Artie or Arthur or something like that. It's been a bit since I've seen the movie, and I don't care to. He could have been a fun addition, but instead he's one of the blandest characters in the whole series, and his entire personality is just a whiny teenager. And his storyline is uninspired, and instead of a satisfying arc where he proves himself, the villains just give up after hearing a generic speech that sounds like it was made from ChatGPT. These are murderous villains, and it's some kid saying, "Hey, you don't have to be bad." What, that got them? That was it? That's all it took? That makes no sense. Oh yeah, so the emotional depth that made Shrek 2 so amazing is completely missing here. Even the first Shrek as well. Shrek's arc about fatherhood, it could have been good in the natural progression or whatever, but instead of having emotional conversations or real introspection, we get a lazy nightmare sequence in an obvious moment, like the one-eyed guard cherishing his child, like, "Who would have thought a monster like me deserved something as special as you?" Hey, do you get it? Because Shrek also is gonna have children, and he's a monster creature. Do you understand our subtlety? It spells out the themes in the most heavy-handed and obvious ways possible, dude. I mean, the movie doesn't trust the audience to pick up on deeper themes. It just shoves them in their face because this is a movie for babies. Literal babies. That's all it's for. The only great moment in the movie, that I will give it is the scene where Shrek and Arthur have an actual deep and interesting conversation by the fire about bonding over their fatherly struggles. They're bonding over their father issues that they have. And, it kind of just... It's the only time in the film that slows down and shows genuine character moments between Shrek and Arthur that the movie needed desperately the whole time. It makes you wish the whole movie was like this. But no, it doesn't have the same level of depth. The movie is just an utter disaster that ruined the reputation of the Shrek franchise and turned it into a silly meme. Haha, ogres are funny, aren't they? Shrek is a funny meme. Let's make merchandise till the sun blows up. I'm not even as mad about it as I am just disappointed. This movie just lacks the cleverness and the heart and the well-crafted storytelling and the humor and the music and the everything else. It's just got weak characters, cheap humor, and a forgettable plot. And it just doesn't feel like a natural continuation. It just feels like a lazy, uninspired attempt to milk the franchise for cash. And honestly, this feels more like a Shrek short or something, but it's canonically a movie in the Shrek series. So 2 out of 10, you're probably like, why is it not a 1 out of 10? That's what it deserves. I agree. But I have to be honest, Shrek roasting Charming on stage and Shrek and Arthur talking by the fire actually was pretty decent. So congratulations, movie. You did it. You are not at the same level of Artemis Fowl. You're just one peg above it. Yeah. Finally, I could talk about a good Shrek film again. Okay, Shrek Forever After. This movie offers a much-needed revitalization to the series after the misstep of the third. While it doesn't quite reach the heights of Shrek 2, it does a great job of exploring Shrek's journey of self-acceptance and providing a satisfying conclusion to his arc overall from the first film. And, oh my god, I tear up every time that Shrek death scene comes up, whenever he's like, you know what the best part of today was? I got the chance to fall in love with you all over again. I feel silly for even doing the Scottish accent for that. It's just so beautiful, man. It's such a good one. I mean, it starts out with the party scene and Shrek being discontent and all that, and it's being annoying and loud, because that's what Shrek became after the third movie. That's what it became. It really has one of the best villains as well. It has a great story. Shrek is actually in it for not only himself, trying to get back to his timeline, but also he's putting Fiona's needs above his own, which he's done before, but this is the best way that he's done it, and this is the best that Fiona and Donkey have both been. in a while, dude. And this is the first Shrek movie where the villain actually won and Shrek has to work his way out of it. Like, theoretically, the first, second, and third movie, he could just go back to the swamp. Sure, he'd lose everything, but he'd still be content, like, or not content, but he'd still have that life. But nope, not in this one. No swamp, no kingdom, no castle, no nothing. He has nothing and he has no choice but to fight this. That is insane to me. This movie is honestly a satisfying conclusion to the Shrek franchise as a whole, and it wraps up the franchise in a meaningful way and makes it a solid and enjoyable watch. So honestly, I would give it a strong 8 out of 10, bordering on a 9, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in would watch again. It's so good, dude. I might watch it after this video. I want to. All right, Puss in Boots. Let's get to that film. What happens in that movie? Actually, let me watch it real quick before I review it. Here we go.
1 hour and 30 minutes later.
Huh. Okay. The first Puss in Boots movie has its fun moments, I'll be honest. It's kind of forgettable, dude. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The other Shrek films in the series, every other film, it's at least memorable, whether good or bad. I don't really know what to say. Puss is still a likable character. The plot just feels pretty straightforward and standard. I mean, Humpty's a fun character. Jack and Jill are pretty intimidating, honestly. Kitty Softpaws is a great addition. It's good to see Puss's background and why he has the boots and why they mean so much to him. It just doesn't explore character depth that well as much as it does in the second film, which I will talk about in a second. This one's kind of just a decent film that lacks emotional weight and staying power of the other series, but it's still a fun watch. And the best part about it being forgettable is, whenever you watch it, you kind of just you're still on the ride. You're like, what's going to happen? I don't remember. So for that, I am going to go ahead and put this in good, not great. I would put it in kind of forgettable, but I do think it's still not that bad. Last but not least, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I don't know how many times I could talk about this. I think I've already talked about it once or twice on the channel. This is a massive step up from the first Puss in Boots movie. The Last Wish is absolutely amazing. I've already talked about the villains, being Death, Jack Horner, and Goldie and the Three Bears. It's so amazing. It delves deep into themes of morality, redemption, personal growth. The animation style, oh my god, it's stunning. Notice Shrek 5 how they didn't have to completely ruin the character models in order to make it look more modernized. Fix Shrek 5! And to the people who are saying it's not that bad, yes it is. You are wrong. Look, I'm pretty sure they took inspiration from the animation style of Into the Spider-Verse, which is, yeah, why wouldn't you? It's offering a much more mature and powerful narrative. The film manages to balance action, humor, and heart beautifully, and it's one of the best films in the entire Shrek franchise, rivaling Shrek 2 in quality, I'll be honest. I'd say this is the second best right after Shrek 2. I would say that Perito is a really, really good side character that I thought would get annoying, but actually he turned out to be pretty charming. Or, sorry, bad word. Lovable. Kitty Softpaws returning was obvious, but also it was great because she had an even better story in this one, so did Puss. Jack Horner's John Maloney, and he's amazing. What do I have to say about that? I already talked about him. Death, I already talked about him. Goldie and the Three Bears, I already talked about them as well. All of it is great. I absolutely love it, and I love the conclusion where everybody gets their wish in the end, and everybody ends up with what they wanted without even having to make a wish. That is beautiful. So, yeah, for that, I'm going to say that this is the only film that rivals Shrek 2 at levels above. And that's my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What do you think? I know there's going to be some sick, deranged person who puts Shrek the Third above everybody else. Look, that's fine. I can disagree with you all day. If you like Shrek the Third because it's nonsensical, just humor or whatever, or fun that you enjoy, that's great.
Oh,
That's nice. Now let's go. It's okay to like a movie or dislike a movie. It doesn't matter what my rankings are. It doesn't matter what anybody else's rankings are. If you enjoy a film, you enjoy it. For me, I enjoy Shrek 2 and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. If you enjoy any of the films below it more, that's great. Even if you're wrong. Anyway, that's it for this one. Yeah, I guess that I will go back to the dungeon and work on some other Shrek videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, and donkey again. Donkey.